You don't get anything unless you ask. And when you do ask, it's amazing the results you get.
I think making the ask is obviously the hardest part about raising community foundation endowment. And what I've learned is that I have to put my personality outside it. It's not about me asking, and being rejected is not about me personally being rejected. It's about the donor or the potential donor having other priorities.
Sometimes there are non-profits, and look, there could be community foundations for that matter, who identify wealthy people in a local community, target them for a gift, and probably haven't taken the time to really research and understand the background of that person, and also really research who is actually the best person to be approaching that person.
I think it is important that you establish what it is that you stand for and why you're asking people to give you funds.
It's a very difficult sell if I tell them that I cover A to Z. But if I give them a great idea of, I'd like to make sure that every child that's humanly possible for us to reach, to teach how to swim in the Bass Shire, that's an achievable dream which people are prepared to back. And it's a worthwhile cause because ultimately we live in an area that's surrounded by water.
One of the keys to good fundraising is patience, and it's not only personal patience, it's actually the understanding of the board and the organisation that the development of these relationships take time.
When it comes to the Ballarat Foundation, it's all about one-to-one interactions. Basically, I spend my time going out and talking to people and chatting with people, and you never know where opportunities open up. One person mentions that they were chatting with someone else and it passes on, the next thing you know, and this has happened to me, the next thing you know, you're sitting down and talking about a new $500,000 sub fund set up for someone.
I'm famous for saying, come and have a coffee with me. People usually know that means I'm either going to be asking, or I'm going to be suggesting, or I'm going to be, bouncing an idea off people.
It's offering them the opportunity to do something in their community and leave something lasting, a lasting legacy. So it's for their benefit.
Initially, when you're selling it and someone comes to you, and we'll be doing this again, and we say to them, we want to get an X sum from you, but basically at this point in time, it's going nowhere but into a bank to earn interest. And they say, but it will be there forever. And that contribution, small contribution that you make now, will be ongoing for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, is suddenly a very, very good selling point, an excellent selling point.
The ability to talk about your story and to really promote what you're doing has often been the difference, the key element that's raised more or less funds.
The main thing in terms of developing the Community Foundation is that it is known in the areas that it needs to be known. We don't need to have everybody in the community know about us, but we certainly need a good slice of the community know about us.
The biggest challenges in the fundraising space are probably for us the perception that we don't actually do anything, in that we're a giver, so why should people give to us when they could give directly to the grant recipient themselves? So for us, it's articulating the enduring nature of a community foundation and its perpetuity.
I think a good reputation is the absolute number one. We recently got a bequest of nearly $1 million from a lady we'd never heard about, but she had seen what we did in the community.
The community foundations, I think, can be quite invisible, and one of the challenges for the ones we funded was to become visible. And to do that, they really do need to start going out and providing some grants.
The more we do, the more people recognise the logo and understand what it is we actually are trying to achieve. And so doing repetitive, whether you call them marketing events, fundraising events, is really essential. So even if we're not earning great big dollars out of it, we believe as a board that we actually have to continue to do that, because otherwise our name gets lost in the noise, I guess. So keeping it constant, keeping it current is really important.
You've got to be totally transparent, and you've got to be able to make sure everybody knows what you're doing, and try and keep a fairly high profile of the activities. It's not easy to get press today.
The other critical thing from a regional point of view is to have a good relationship with the local media providers. So we've got 2 local radio stations and also a local newspaper, as well as some free local newspapers, and we've got great relationships with all of those organisations who assist us in getting our message out.
Your commitment is to be not running around chasing after money, like trying to catch a moth flapping around in the room. You become the candle that attracts the moth and a whole lot of other moths in the area that you didn't know about. And I think our guiding principles are to do what we can as well as we can, and the people will come.